Good evening, everyone. This is me, the truth teller, Rashana, coming to you with some truth. We are going to talk tonight about the truth about your financial wellness and also the truth about when someone transitions from this life to the next life. Are you ready? Are they prepared financially? We're not talking about having estates and, having a whole bunch of money. We're just talking about being ready with the end of life, expenses. Can you pay off that bill? Can you funeralize that person without getting a GoFundMe? Right? The serious stuff. So tonight, my guest is going to be Cashem, Holland. We met in the circle of the city of Newark and all of the good stuff that my sister Tafshir does there with her folks. And Cash is known as the financial boss. He does a lot of nonprofit work, actually has a nonprofit organization, which you'll learn about in a minute. But he also is an agent for life insurance and also can help just, give a few tips on financial preparedness, being ready, right? So I'm going to bring Cash in and he's going to tell us a little bit more about himself. And then we will move right into the getting yourself prepared financially and then information about life insurance because everybody does. Sorry, my phone is beeping. So welcome, Cash.
Hey, Roshana, how are you?
I'm awesome, and you know that.
I know that.
Okay. How are you?
Thank you so
Awesome, and I
much.
know
I
that.
am wonderful, wonderful,
Good.
wonderful. Happy Thursday and all that good stuff.
Happy Thursday. So how you been with the pandemic? You doing all right? Remember when the last time I think I saw you, the last time we went to garden with Tafshir and we had the whole socially distant thing and it was pretty
Right.
cool. I haven't
Mask
seen you
and
in a
all
long
that.
time, so you look great.
I know. Thank you very much. I've been staying
Yeah,
in. No sun, as you can see, so I'm light, light, light. Right.
yeah, you
Um,
kind of light skin.
I need some sun. Definitely. Give me a minute. I'm gonna get some. Waiting for the sun to fully pop out, and I'm definitely gonna get me a nice tan.
Okay.
Everything has been okay, as you are well aware. With the pandemic, things have changed a bit. So let me go ahead and introduce myself, and we could go ahead and start the conversation. Right. So
Yes, please.
um, my name is Cashem Latif Holland, more affectionately known as Cash, and I'm the founder and executive director of Financial B.O.S.S. Financial B.O.S.S is a nonprofit organization whereby we educate, empower, and edify the community by instructing them in the matters of financial literacy as well as money management. And we also customize programs specifically for children as young as age 5 and adult programming also. And so one of the reasons that I'm first and foremost, let me thank you so much for inviting me to come on and talk to the people, right? Because financial wellness is so very important. And that's one of the reasons that I founded the company. So just a little bit about me is I was born and raised in Brooklyn, and basically my father was a spender, my mother was a saver, right? I will tell you that I took after my father. Okay, I'm a spendthrift. I love to spend money, and that has been most of my plight, I would say, throughout my financial journey. What I
Right.
realized though is when I was pursuing my bachelor's degree, my minor was in entrepreneurship, and a part of my coursework was to bring a company from inception to fruition. And so that's basically how Financial B.O.S.S was birthed, because I realized that at that particular point in time, although I had gotten a handle on my finances, that how much better my journey would have been if I learned this when I was a young child, if I learned it
Right.
when I was 5, if I learned it when I was in high school, right? Because those are the things that are not taught in our school system, where we're not taught, our children are not taught really how to budget, and things of that nature. Like, they're not taught how to save money. Like, we always know how to make money. That's never a problem, right? We always know how to get a job and hustle
Mhm.
and all of that. But as far as actually saving and donating and investing, those are things that are not taught. And so we continue to, face the conundrum of working for the rest of our life, right? And that's going to kind of segue into what we're about to talk about. Is because of,
Let me
because
let me
Mhm.
acknowledge
All
a teenager who knows how to make a bunch of money and doesn't know how to save it. CC, my
right.
daughter,
All
she
right.
gets her hustle on and she don't save a dollar. So are you listening to Cash? Okay.
Come
She
on, listen,
listening.
yeah. because it's important, right? It's important because if not, then we continue to work. We're going to work until we die. That's really what it is. And so it's important that we learn these financial tidbits, these fundamentals, these basic tools in
Mhm.
order for us to be able to make our money make money for us. And so that we don't have to continue to work for it. Right. And so again, that's basically what I do. I'm a financial educator. I take simple tools and skills and teach people how to use what you have in order to make more. And basically how to restructure your mindset, because that's really what it is about. I'm sure you would
Mhm.
agree, Rashana, right? It's all about how you feel about it. If you wake up and you're like, oh, it's a horrible day, even if the sun is shining, you're gonna have this funk. You're gonna have this cloud over
Mhm.
you for the rest of the day. And so it's important, especially with our finances, that we have the correct mindset, that we are
Mhm.
going into it the right way. And so then we'll reap the biggest rewards.
I agree.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sorry. So, yeah, as far as with finances, or so with the program, basically it's to teach people the fundamentals and basics, like I said, and then build upon that. What I wind up doing though is I wanted, for when a financial boss, I would say, what first came into existence, I was doing other things. My background is actually in technology, so my bachelor's degree is in management of information technology and data analytics. And then, like I said, I'm minored in entrepreneurship. So at the time in 2017, when I first founded the company, I actually was on assignment doing technical work. And so I wasn't able to fully put my all in it, to be real honest. And
Mhm.
so what I did is I kind of put it on the back burner. I continued in my own financial journey. And what I realized is that what happened is things didn't get better. The underserved communities, the people who I know and love, they did not
Mhm.
get this information. They didn't start to do better. And so what happened in 2019, the things took a turn for me. And I realized that if I didn't start and be able to educate people and help them do better, then 9 times out of 10 they weren't going to do better, because I had already seen that. And so in 2019 is when, I actually kind of took a hold of the company and really started getting out there and trying to educate more people and speaking with different organizations and different school systems in order to see how we could actually implement the program, or if nothing else, just get out there and give this information to people who really needed it. Right. And so that, I'm happy to say that since then things have been going well, despite the pandemic. I have to say.
Mhm.
So, like I said, 2019, I would say maybe around August, I went to a summit with Project Ready, actually, that and set up a table and got to meet so many people in the education sector,
Like
which was
me.
amazing. That's right. Like you, Tafshia, got to meet you wonderful people who now, we are friends and I know and love y'all,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And it was an amazing experience because I got to connect with people who were just as passionate about serving the community as I am.
Mhm.
And so from then, I would have to say that things, took a little bit of a turn, of course, with the pandemic. And so I did have some contracts that were set up in order to educate some young children with some organizations, after school programs, and things of that nature. But of course, when the schools closed, things changed. Okay.
Mhm.
And see, so then it was important for me to be able to pivot. We were just talking about that, right, Rashana? It is the ability to
Yeah.
adjust and according to the circumstances. And so what wound up happening, it took me a little while, but I was able to start doing programming online through virtual, teleconferencing tools, and still
Mhm.
able to reach the community. And so that has been a wonderful experience. I've worked with the farm to school through Payne Tech. I've
That's what I
done
was gonna
some
say. You just
business.
in that pain tech. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Payne Tech, United Parks is one. I did
Mhm.
an adult program for the Clinton Hill Community Action. Just recently, actually, just last night, I just finished a fiscal investing workshop that I did with the Newark Museum of Arts Explorers Program. And so it has still been my, major, passion to still educate these children, to still educate these adults, to educate those in our community who just need a little bit of guidance. Like sometimes what I realize is that, especially with us, like you can't give what you don't know, and you can't get it from somebody who doesn't know it. So I love you, Tab. So like one of the biggest things I realized is that my parents, although like I mentioned, my father was a spender, my mother was a saver. Like they didn't. My mother passed when I was 18, so I
Mhm.
didn't get that knowledge from her as to how she kept her credit in such good standing, how she
Mhm.
did not work. My father was the breadwinner, but yet she had the 750 credit score, and my father did not. Right?
Mhm.
I didn't learn those things growing up, and see, so I had to struggle. I had to go
Mhm.
through it. I had to get it through the school of hard knocks by osmosis, banging my head against the wall like most of us do. And
So knowledge
so,
is power. Watch this. I
right,
want to just
come
so
on.
you already have developed programs. So if I had more than one vote as a member of the city council, you could rest assured that we would have you in our community services,
Let's
to do
do
some
it.
programs for the children. Like
Right.
we're paying people to teach online chess. Are you kidding? Like there are other things that are like chess is fine, but I would rather spend our taxpayer money on programs where that person can take a skill that's going to benefit them in the rest of their life, mainly, financial budgeting and things like that. So I appreciate, you telling us all because I know your credentials, but just so everybody can be clear. And if anybody in the city of London is watching, because I'm sure they've been stalking my page like they were at the council meeting the other day, check, we need to accept and be open to proposals from people who know what they're talking about and don't just say no because they're affiliated with Rashana, right? So I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that
Okay, wow.
because no, you out here, you doing good work. What you have to offer is important, and that's one of the reasons why I continue to keep in the circles where you are because your information is valuable, and I appreciate you. So I'm sorry I interrupted you, but
It's okay.
give us some. So you have the financial literacy,
Right.
right? The
Right.
programs include budgeting and what else? You said
So,
you said.
yeah, primarily the programs are customizable. However, yes, one of the things that we do focus on is budgeting. With the younger kids, I focus a lot on their vocabulary, and so I think that it's
Okay.
extremely important. And a lot of times, what happens is we don't fully understand the meaning of the word, and so it's real hard to do something when you don't really understand it. And so that's one
Mhm.
of the basic things that's in all of the programs. So I have curriculum on all three different levels for children, for elementary school, middle school, as well as high school students. And all of them go through the basic fundamentals, which
Mhm.
encourages them to learn how to save, how to spend, how to earn, and also how to donate. Right. Because I think that it's extremely important that in order to give, in order to get, you have to give. And if we teach our children that from a young age, then they won't be so selfish, and they will extend their hand as opposed to always wanting to receive things.
Mhm.
So that's always in the program. But also branching off of that, I do have an investment program, in addition to an entrepreneurship program for those who are looking to start their own business. I'm in the process of writing the curriculum for a program which is from broke to business, which is
Mhm.
basically it goes a lot into my journey. Really, it does. And that is one of the things that I focus on, is because that's exactly what it was for me. And I'm gonna say this
Mhm.
one thing, right? When I first started on my technological path, I got my A+ certification, and I thought that I was gonna land this job. I actually got the job. They, hired me supposedly. I was supposed to go
Mhm.
back the next day, and they told me that they had to rescind the offer, right? And so here I was, jobless, right, with this certificate, or these credentials that didn't matter at this particular
Mhm.
point to me. And so what I
Yeah.
did, and because I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit, right? I was the young kid who, when I was in elementary school and junior high school, I had money. My parents gave me an allowance. I would go to the store and buy the quarter waters and sell it to you for 40 cents. Like I
Mhm.
would buy the bag of
Mhm.
chips. I'm dating myself a lot. But I would buy I would buy the bag of chips, and come sell it to you at a markup value, right? Because you had to wait till the end of the week. And so since I had to wait for my money, then basically what I
You get
had
a
to
little
do,
extra.
yeah, I needed to profit, right? And so
Mhm.
what I basically did, like I said, when this offer was rescinded, I looked on Craigslist, okay, and I found someone who we are still good friends today. His name is Celso, and he was dismantling his computer repair company, and
Mhm.
he had 50 laptops. that were in his living room. His wife wanted them out of the house. I convinced him to sell them to me on consignment. And he
Okay.
said that he was going to charge me $50 a laptop, right? Every time I sold the laptop, I would bring him the money, until I went on and paid him off. And during that time, in about 3 months' time, I made about $10,000, right? Just from
Mhm.
selling the laptops. At the time, I didn't have a vehicle. I did have a home, barely, right? And what I did is I put three backpacks. After you put three laptops in my backpack, and I walked around Brooklyn and East New York, and I didn't come home until I sold them. So that's
Mhm.
my story, right? From broke to a business owner. This Financial Boss is not the only one. I have 4 businesses currently,
Mhm.
and it basically is just more so than anything else is having the tenacity, having the determination, having the
Mhm.
commitment to make things happen, and eventually it will. And so that's one of the things that I definitely want to, I put out there in all of the programs is that you can do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? All you need is a little bit. Nobody had to tell me, I didn't have a whole financial statement when I did this. All I knew is, listen, I bought them at 50. If I sold them at 250, that's easy math. That was
Mhm.
$200 a laptop, period. All I
Mhm.
had to do was sell them.
Right.
And I could also I can negotiate. I could sell it at 190 if I like. Either way, it was a profit, right?
Right. You need profit.
And so that's a lot of what is taught in the program, right? And even when
Okay.
I do personal consultations and one-on-one, a lot of what we focus on is knowing yourself, because I think that that's extremely important. If you know the type of person, like I mentioned to you, I'm a spender. I still
Mm.
am a spender. I spend more economically now. I spend
Okay.
on my needs as opposed to my wants now, but I still spend money,
Mhm.
and that's who I am as an individual.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And see, so that was one of the things that I did. One of the live I used to do workshops at the library, before the pandemic. And one of the things that I focused on was teaching everybody how to identify what type of spender you are and
Mhm.
how you spend money. And if you're able to do that, then you know what'll work for you and how to now curtail your spending for your greater good.
Okay. Okay. So you have what else? Your other business is what? Life insurance, right? I'm just
Yes.
looking at the wrong computer. Okay.
Yeah. So
You
that
saw me. Thank you.
so yes, that is one of them. So Financial Boss is the nonprofit organization, again, for empowering people in the community as far as
Mhm.
finances go. I do also have a company that is Bossed Up Financial Coaching Services, and what that
Okay.
is basically to not only for personal coaching but also business coaching. It also encompasses credit repair, which is extremely important, whether you
Mhm.
are just an individual and trying to buy a house, or if you are starting a business and looking into that type of deal. In addition to that, from my technological company, it's called DreadTech Computation, which basically it covers everything from soup to nuts as far as computers are concerned, whether it's repair, whether it's flyers, SEO, optimization, websites, all of that. And then, yes, I am a licensed to sell life insurance through Primerica. So that's yeah. So let's get into the life insurance thing.
Yeah, because why? Why?
Because why? Because
Everybody got
everybody
everybody.
dies.
I know.
Everybody
Thank
dies.
you.
So yeah, one of the reasons that I actually wanted to sell life insurance um was because our people need it, right? And so honestly, I started this journey a couple of years ago, and I didn't complete it, right? Because at the time it wasn't as essential to me, and I'll be really
Mhm.
honest, it wasn't.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
remember, 10, almost 15 years when I got my own life insurance. I remember at that particular point in time, I paid for 1 month and decided before the month was out, like, I didn't have that extra money, and I went on and canceled the policy. Right. And so, again, as we get older, different things become more vivid to us. And so, one of the things, and one of the reasons, I should say, as to why here recently, within the last year or two, where I started focusing on this, is because I wanted to be able to holistically serve the community in
Right.
all areas that, they needed help. And this is one of the biggest areas, right? I don't know about you, but it is disheartening to for someone to lose a loved one, and especially let me first let me also say my condolences to all those who have lost people. I lost
Right.
several people through the pandemic.
Right.
And ongoing, and with everybody and everything going on, like this still continues to happen. Like
Hmm.
death is still a reality, right? And it's important that we be prepared for it, like anything else. Under the company, that's one of the major things that I promote also is being prepared. Even with the pandemic, if you more people, excuse me, if more people were prepared financially, then there
Hmm.
wouldn't have been so much stress and irritation, right? There wouldn't have been millions of people who were stressed out about not getting a recall back from unemployment if they already had tucked away that emergency savings, like we've all been counseled on doing. Right.
Right.
There
Yeah.
are some people who lost their job, and it took a traumatic toll. There were people who were on the verges of losing their homes and things of that nature because of this same thing. And so what it is that even with life insurance, it's the preparation of, because it's gonna happen, right? Yeah, okay. Listen, none of us foresaw that we would be in the midst of a pandemic. Like,
Right.
who'd have thunk? Who'd have thunk that we'd be in
Hmm.
the house, confined to our homes, still wearing masks on a daily basis? No, nobody in their wildest dreams would have thought that. But this is our reality. But
Hmm.
there are some who have been doing okay throughout it, job or not, without, because they've built this nest egg for themselves, because they
Hmm.
prepared for the worst and just in case it happened. And so it's the
Yeah.
same thing when we're talking about death, and when it comes to things of that nature. Like, at some point this is going to happen. It is
So let me ask
important
you a
that we
question.
prepare.
As far you said before that when you got your policy many years ago, you canceled it because the money was not extra. Like this, you didn't have enough extra money, right? Because
Right.
you're a spender, right?
Yeah.
So I I recently, well, not recently, but a couple of years ago, I got a policy on each of my children who were insurable.
Okay.
We I want you to talk to the people and let them be clear also about how important it is to get insurance early, because should you come down with you know a disease, a certain any chronic illness, you're not insurable anymore,
Right.
right?
Right. It's true. And it's also cheaper, right? See, so
The younger you
the
are, right?
yeah, it's just like with anything. It's like when you're talking about investing, if you start investing when you're 20, you're 9 times out of 10 you're gonna make more money than you do if you start investing when you're 40. It's no
Right,
different, right? With
right.
life insurance, yes, if you get a policy when you're earlier, or when you're younger, I should say, then yes, you are able to be covered for a much lesser cost. Right, you
Mhm.
get more value for it, as opposed to when you get older, and especially when you start having ailments and different other things, illnesses that now come into play. There are
Mhm.
some insurance companies that don't insure if you have two or more illnesses, or you
Mhm.
have to just prove so many things in order to be insurable, right? Because see, I mean, let's be 100% clear. Like, the purpose of insurance is just that, in case something happens, right?
Right.
Now, don't get it wrong though. The insurance company is taking a risk, because if something happens to you the next day, then hey, they still have to, pay out on the policy. And so that's one of the reasons that they are extremely they scrutinize exactly what is going on, and your health conditions especially.
Mhm.
But it's
Mhm.
still extremely important. Like, it is so disheartening when someone loses a loved one, and now there has to either be a GoFundMe page or a fish fry in order to put this person in the ground. It saddens me. That is one of the
Yeah.
reasons that I started doing life insurance.
Yeah. So what policies do you offer? So you got the little I just got a thing in the mail today. It was like a little grow up plan or whatever
Oh,
like that. So,
yeah. Okay,
that would
so
be something for the parents of younger children, and
yes.
that's usually a whole life policy, right?
It is. And so, well, as I mentioned, I am insured through Primerica, and we offer term life insurance. And the reason for it, right, is because of the fact that with term life insurance, it enables you to also build your wealth, right? And so that basically you will be self-insured after your policy runs out. And so there are two different types, like you mentioned. And the difference is just that is one is whole life, right?
Mhm.
Which you just talked about, and basically what the whole life insurance does is for the entire life of the
Mhm.
person, which means you pay from the day you start paying to the day
Mhm.
you can no longer pay, right? Entire life. Um, as far as term life, what it is just that. It is a term that is set for. Whether it's 15
Mhm.
years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, you get to choose. But one of the things that we encourage those who are doing life insurance, right? Especially if you're doing a term policy, is at the same time that you're doing this term policy, it covers
Mhm.
you. That policy, as long as you pay your premiums, you are covered should something happen to you. But along with that, we encourage you to now invest something into either mutual funds or do a type of investing so that by the time, let's say, the 15-year policy ends out, you have grew enough of your money to now self-insure yourself, right? To where you no longer
I think
need
I
the
get
life
it.
insurance.
Okay, you don't need the policy anymore.
You don't need the
If
policy
anybody
because you
wants to
have the
learn more
money.
about that, I put your insurance email up
Oh
here so
yeah,
everybody can,
please.
in case, and if you want more information about specifics on the different types of policies, please use this email for cash at theprimerica.com. All right. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to let
No,
everybody know how to get
no,
you.
it's okay. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the differences in the policies, and why it's so important. And that's like again one of the reasons that I joined this particular company and joined Primerica was because of the fact that I did not want to be tied into just paying for a policy. Right.
Mhm.
But it encourages you to now invest your funds so that you no longer need the policy, right?
Right.
You have now grown enough wealth for yourself, and so that if anything should happen, your personal funds are able to cover it. And I think
Okay.
that that's extremely important. And just to talk to what you were mentioning about your children, as far as
Mhm.
a term life insurance, you are able to do a child rider, which is if you have a child who is under the age of 24, you are able to cover them under your own policy. Right. So like I have a policy. I also have a child rider for both of my children who are currently under 24. Not to be confused with beneficiaries, right? But actually insurance coverage
Insurance.
for
Okay.
your children, right? Now, if they are over 24, you can still do that, right? You can still get a policy for your child, whether or not they're paying for it or you are paying for it. However, and again, it's an amazing thing to be able to do it with most children, especially even if they are 24. Their premium they could get 150,000 for $20 a month, right?
Okay.
Which they nowhere near need, right? Again, let's not ever forget the purpose of insurance. Okay. The purpose is so that the expenses are covered during this untimely, during this unfortunate occurrence. Because that's really what it is. Most people do
Mhm.
not even realize that just to bury a person costs about $6,000
Right.
minimally. People
Right.
don't realize that, the fact of even if a person is going to be cremated, which is a lesser expense, there still has to be a casket purchased. Caskets are
Oh,
$1,000
I know.
minimally.
It's funny. I'm not even going to talk about those caskets. No, let me tell you something. It's not a racket, but if someone is not well versed, right, they
Yeah,
can be taken advantage of by the person who's in charge of the services. And I'm not kidding you on that one.
yeah.
You
Because
know.
it's a time when people are mourning, and so
Mhm.
listen, although it is advantageous and it is essential, let's not forget that people are in business to make money, right? And so
Mhm.
I think that that's another thing, and one of the things that I encourage people to do your research, be
Mhm.
extremely knowledgeable about whatever you're doing. And not when
Right.
you get in the circumstance, right? You can't read
Mhm.
about what's the best way to handle a funeral when you're grieving. Like you're supposed to do that now, because again, we know it's going to happen sooner
Yeah.
rather than later. We don't know which one, but it is inevitably going to happen. And so we need to prepare ourselves. We need to prepare our people so that we fare better. and not get, like you were, mentioning, Rashana, like, no, you don't have to get the $8,000 casket because it got gold
Right.
on the sides. Like, you
It's
don't
not
have
even
to
real
do that.
gold.
Especially if you don't have insurance and you expecting for everybody to come buy fish sandwiches in order to do it.
Right.
Like I'm
Right.
serious though. So, the purpose of insurance is basically to cover the expenses. And so, if you're a married person or whatever, you have a home, it's to cover the expenses. It's not for the person who died, it's for the living. That's what
Right.
it's for. It's for so that whatever the person, and primarily, let's say if the person who is now deceased is the breadwinner, now the people who are living do not have to change their particular lifestyle just because this person passed. Right?
Mm-hmm.
See, so that's what you have to also think about. Like, say if you have a
Mm-hmm.
home, don't get $25,000 worth of coverage if you got a $350,000 house.
Right.
You're you're
Right.
gonna you're gonna have your people homeless. That's
Right.
that's what's gonna happen if
I
nobody else is
agree.
working. Listen, so again, be knowledgeable, and that's one of the things that I talk to people about too when they're looking to do so, is exactly what is best for you. What are some of the things that you think about? What are some of the things that you consider? Your
Mm-hmm.
circumstances is going to be different from a father or mother that has 4 young children, as opposed to a single individual who has adult children out of the home.
Right.
Your
Right.
policy will look different. Your situation is different, and I kind of coach you through how to make a decision accordingly.
All right. So when we open up fully, I know that we were trying. I think the last time we were trying to like get together and do something together was as soon as COVID hit.
Right.
Right. We were going to do something. So when I can schedule you, I'll be happy to bring you in, and maybe we can have some folks who are really serious about insurance to
Yeah.
come and get this information and get the it's not like the same when you can't feel it and touch it and see it and know the numbers and
Right.
actually like that. So, and I also want to shout out to my sister Brick City Bass. She out here on here. She's promoting and talking and commenting.
I
And so
see
I
you,
have to look over
Taz.
here. I know because the computer's over here. But those of you who are watching this at your leisure, pay attention. There's a term policy that allows you to invest. That's what Casher said. That's something I didn't even realize until you said that. You can invest through the term policy. So when the term is over, guess what? You still have that little nest egg or whatever it is. So that's something that people need to be clear on. Yep.
Yeah, so it's two separate. Your term policy would be definitely separate for your insurance, but along with that, what would happen is, like, just say you want to pay a total of $100, right, per month for your policy, and to cover you. What I would probably encourage, or we would do a quote to see if maybe you would pay $50 towards the policy, which would actually cover and invest the other $50. Right.
Okay.
See, so you're still paying the total amount that it's no different than what you asked to do,
What you budgeting, right?
but you're budgeting right. And see, so now that after this term that you'll have along with this term, you're paying for the insurance until you get to this point to where now, you don't need it.
Okay. That's cool. I like that. I didn't know that. So listen, folks, make sure that you look on IG. I'm trying to find your post right here. So I'm looking down. Forgive me. I got yelled at. Kim yelled at me. She's like, "Stop looking at your phone," but I'm really not, Kim. I don't have a super producer with me, so I'm trying to do this on my own. I think she'll be my producer from now on, right?
Yes.
She's gonna be my producer. We're gonna learn how to do that. But next week I'm gonna be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, coming to you guys live. That's right. Yeah, commemoration. But look, get Cash on Instagram and Facebook, thefinancialboss.org. If you want to get any other workshops, budgeting, and things like that, this is how you would contact Cash. I am a financial boss at Gmail. And then there's a whole website, and you can, whatever services you are looking for, you can find all of that.
Right
on his website.
On the Financial Boss website, there is a contact us page where you can send me an email. It'll come straight to me. Any questions that you have, and that's pretty much about the financial coaching. Also, any type of program if you want it for yourself, for your children. If you do have any questions about life insurance or are interested in getting a quote for a policy, or if are you interested in even delving into entrepreneurship yourself and perhaps looking to, add this to your repertoire and that of selling life insurance, then you can reach me at Cashem Latif Holland at Primerica.com.
Okay, awesome. And so I wanted to have you here at the same time as the surrogate, right? So
Right.
we're going to talk about life insurance, and they're going to talk about estate planning and preparing a
Right.
will. Unfortunately, the Union County surrogate has been unable to come for 2 years in a row now. So I reached out to S County surrogates, and they are awesome. The whole team will be on June the 17th, and we're going to just, give the folks information on what they need to know. If you have a will or not, you should probably have a will, even if it's just a piece of paper. Because believe it or not, you may not have anything that you think is of great value, but when folks, make a transition, there's people everywhere.
Right, always.
For whatever little thing you have, right? So
Always.
the Essex County Surrogate, I appreciate them for coming. They're going to be here on the 17th to give information to the community, which is my regularly scheduled community meeting. So Rashana, the truth teller, turns into Rashana Councilwoman. And that's okay. I'm here every Thursday. Either way, right?
I know that's right.
So, yeah.
And just make sure that they coincide too, right? Yeah, whatever your life insurance policy is and your will, because please don't, as far as legalities are concerned, when it comes to the beneficiaries and of the actual insurance money, the life insurance takes precedent.
It trumps.
So yes, so if your life insurance says that your children are supposed to get it, and your will says that your boyfriend or girlfriend is supposed to get it, please know it's going to your children, because that is who are legally listed as your beneficiaries. So make sure that whatever you are doing, again, be prepared, have a intelligent, adult conversation, serious conversation, and make a decision as to how you want it to proceed forward. Because depending on however it goes, it's, nobody is going to be able to go against black and white.
Right. And you also, here's a service that I also offer and provide, is document review and notary, right? So you have somebody who legitimately understands the documents, POA, a will, all kinds of directives, whatever you're going to put in paper. Make sure that somebody reviews that for clarity, completeness, and then notarizes that. And you can call me. I can do that for you.
I know,
but I'm just saying, right? That's important as well.
It is. It is. It's very important. Don't be we're all novice to certain things. Either do the extensive research, in order to handle it yourself, or get someone who is an expert in it and who can do it for you. Sometimes it saves you a lot of headache, a lot of trouble. It may cost, of course, some people just want to do it yourselves because it's free, and then you wind up messing something else that could cost you or your loved ones detrimentally, right? As opposed to just paying a small fee or whatever it is to get it handled correctly. Again, make the best decision for your benefit.
I agree. So thank you for coming, making the time for us to. This is real talk for people's real life, right?
That's right. It's serious.
Real talk for your real life, and that's serious. What we do is share information. I'm not like the rest of the clowns who just show up once a month and then pretend like they care until they come back next month and start yelling at the people.
Right. Now for the next 2021, no GoFundMe's. You know what I'm saying? No fish fries. Okay, like don't nobody even like whiting that much, like serious though.
Stop
like
it.
let's but seriously, like let's not do that. Let's prepare better. The one of the biggest things is the financial inequity that is that goes on and exists between Black and brown people, Latinx Americans. Like let's do better. And this is one of the ways that you could do better. Be financially educated and get yourself some life insurance for you and your people.
Right, get yourself some life insurance, and get it early if you can, because I ain't trying to be funny, but I have one whole life policy. It's like $54, and that's cool because it's important. But had I kept it earlier on the child, it would have been cheaper right now.
Right.
So,
and for all the money that you put into it, a lot of things too that I didn't even touch on, but just real quick, is also be careful in reading your policy, right? Because of the fact that sometimes when you're covered, you don't really know what you're covered for. Like we're so used to signing on the dotted line and not really reading our paperwork. Some policies are extremely specific, right?
Right.
Like, even when you get policies from your job and things like that. Just let me say that one thing, one real quick thing, Rashana. When you're getting policies from your job, please bear in mind, if you leave the job, you no longer have
Mm-hmm.
their insurance. Okay.
Right. People don't
And
realize that.
it's not, and that's why they pay for it. They pay for it because it's
Right.
a part of a benefit package. If you are no longer covered by the job and no longer employed by them, you no longer have that insurance. In addition to that, some of the insurance that they offer are like death and dismemberment or things like that. You have to die a specific way or they do not pay out. Right. So be,
That's true.
be mindful of that. In addition to
Yeah.
that, something that you wanted me to mention, Rashana, is if you do not have insurance, what happens? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know about y'all. Like I said, I was born in Brooklyn. And so one of the biggest things was even my mother, God rest her soul, right? She used to always say, don't let me end up in Pauper's Field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paupers feel. And so I don't know what y'all know, if a pauper, right? A pauper is a
Mm-hmm.
poor person, one who does
Right.
not have insurance, right? And so what happens is in each state and usually in most of the major cities, there is a bare lot of land that has places where people who did not have insurance, where the
Jane
state
Doe's.
has
Yeah.
them buried there. And
Yep.
it could be not even to be a Jane Doe. It could be you who ends up in in
With
Pauper's
no
Field,
insurance.
right? It's
Yep.
funny too because I went to New Orleans, and in New Orleans they actually have, it's really big on cemeteries and things like that.
Yeah.
But I
Right.
got a chance to visit their Paupers Field. Their Paupers Field, the people themselves, the family actually
Mm-hmm.
comes and digs the grave.
Really?
Actually comes, like when you looked in the field, you could tell who had money, right, and who didn't,
Mm.
because it was the difference of people who had bricks around, the deceased, or people who had, you remember those little like white picket fences, the little
Yeah.
baby
Yeah.
ones,
Yeah. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
would
Yeah. The
have
little
them
baby
out.
one.
So it would show exactly, what their financial status was.
Hmm.
First and foremost, to be in there, obviously you couldn't be buried in one of the other cemeteries. But again, it shows the lack of financial preparation for those
Right.
who wound up being, or whose family had to bury them in Pauper's
Mm-hmm.
Field. And so it's
Right.
something to think about, right? It's
Yeah.
not that you won't be buried, but again, it is definitely something to consider.
I agree. Well, thank you again. I'm going to put my little ticker up again and let everybody know. Tune in next week.
Next
I'll be
week.
coming to you. Yes, on Thursday. We're going to be coming live from Tulsa, Oklahoma for the Black Wall Street 100-year centennial.
Mm.
Myself and my sister, Tafshia the Great, will be down there. And so we'll give as much information as we possibly can on what's happening. And I'll probably record some stuff just to pop up on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to it, because you don't want to miss any of the upcoming episodes. And Cash, thank you. And
Thank
I will see
you.
you soon. My pleasure. Thanks
All
for
right, my
joining me.
pleasure as well. No problem. See you soon.
All right.
All
Take
right, later.
care. Yep. I'm still working on the production over here. So it's just me. So I do feel bad that I'm looking down and looking over. I have to just change my whole setup and get it a little better so everybody can, know that I am paying attention to the person I'm speaking with. I hope that you all gleaned a little bit from that. And then your mind said, ooh, that's right. I probably should get insurance. Or, hey, this is a nonprofit agency. Can that person come and provide information to my group, my school pod, my summer camp, whatever it is? Because I'm telling you, budgeting is important. I am a spender, and I know that a lot of people out there are living check to check. So we have to start investing. I have to, I was excited. I had bought myself some penny stock, right? So I'm excited. So that little penny stock is growing. Got myself some other stock as an investment. Now, I'm not going to be a day trader like my nephew's out here. I'm out here trying to put some money in and let it grow and let it do what it needs to do. And like my daughter, she's a Bitcoin type of queen over here, and I don't even know what that is, but I know she had a bunch of money last summer and she spent it all. So thank you for joining me. Tune in next week, and we're going to have a Tulsa commemorative video for you. And then we're going to be talking politics some more the week after that. Thanks for joining. Stay tuned. Rashana is out for the night. Thank you.